Thank you so much for doing this with me.
Okay. Sure. How
Thank
you
you so
doing?
much. Good. How are you guys doing?
Great. So your name is Shawnee.
Yes, correct.
So we're happy to be here. As I was telling Aubrey, you seem to really know your stuff, and
Yeah.
so when you said let's do this, I thought it would be really fun to do it with Aubrey.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I love the show, so it was really excited when you said yes.
Aw.
We love the show too.
Yeah. So this is one of my favorite episodes of all time. So I was so excited when, both of you guys agreed because you wrote it. So what was like how did, this idea come to fruition?
Well, first, just to give some context, this was in season 2.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
Aubrey and I both joined the show in season 2. I came on as a co-executive producer, and I think you came on as my assistant.
David loves to say that.
So in season 2, the episodes were all team written,
Yes.
co-written
Everything.
by 2 writers.
Okay.
And we got asked to write this one together, and just we knew right from the bat that it was going to be a fun one because, the ideas for the whole staff comes with. Oh, we'll edit that out. The whole staff, helps come up with the stories, and the showrunner also really drives the idea like this, because we know there are things that have to happen. Fallon and Liam have to break up. Fallon and Liam have to get back together. Cole,
Mhm.
Hayden, and Blake, so we know the big things that have to happen, and then you hope that you get some juicy things in the episode that you get assigned. So
Mhm.
we knew that when we got assigned this episode, like we knew it was going to be a low for Fallon and Liam.
Right.
And we also knew that we were going to get to do a girls trip.
Right. We knew that we were going to see Ashley again, which
Right.
was great.
Yes. Love
Yeah.
her.
So we knew that we knew those things had to happen, in our episode, and we also realized, oh, this is going to be fun
Mhm.
because we also had the idea, I think karaoke, girl, the fight, like we knew those were things out there,
Right.
and then we realized, oh, we can have those in our episode,
Right.
organically and make them fun.
Yeah, exactly. No, totally. I love the there's elements of like this really happiness with like, the girls trip and they're just going hanging out at a bar and doing karaoke. And then there's like this low part where, Fallon realizes that Liam has moved on with someone else and she missed her chance. And I think just like the juxtaposition of both of those things was really important to see, especially because, Fallon is such this like, she shows no emotion a lot of the times, it's like we'd never see her really being vulnerable. And then this episode, it's like, we see her kind of break down. We see her being like, oh my gosh, like I like ruined something. And, was like a thing that I wanted and I want to go after it, but nobody can just keep their lives on hold for her, so that was really nice to see, the basis of her emotions and where they can go.
Yeah. The ending, I thought, just rewatching the episode, I had forgotten just how emotional she was. And it broke my heart watching that.
Right,
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I think you said it really well, and you said it really well too, because that was something that we knew about Fallon, is that she sort of keeps her emotions in check, and it was fun to watch again. We each watched it again just to be reminded of it, and even towards the end, it seemed like it was going to be another happy ending. That she was going to make this speech and she was going to melt his heart, and Fallon, as always, was going to get what Fallon wants and fights for and schemes for. So it really was, maybe fun isn't the right word, but sort of interesting to see that it really ended badly for her.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And we also had the knowledge, because we know what the whole arc of the season was going to look like, that we have to bring Fallon to a real low and make it feel like all is lost before, because, as we know, she winds up getting Liam or winning Liam, but we had to sink her as low as we could before we, bring her back up. And I thought she played it beautifully.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. It made my heart break. When you guys were writing this episode, and then you saw it all filmed and everything, and then you watched it, did it play out on screen the same way that you imagined when writing it?
I think it played out better. I mean, I knew we wrote a great episode. Sometimes you write things and for whatever reasons, they don't quite get captured the way that you imagined it in your head. This episode, I think, surpassed our expectations.
I have high expectations for my episode.
My expectations are always low. No, it was really, really. We got to shoot on location, which also helped. We got to shoot at the Ritz-Carlton, Lake Oconee, and when you're gonna shoot on location, it's really nice. It just adds something to the set. So that was cool, and yeah, it surpassed my expectations, I think.
Yeah, and we knew that we were gonna have karaoke. That that was there's so many details. Picking the song, picking the arrangement of the song, picking who sings what parts. That's a whole ordeal. And then there was also the fight, and I had left. I think you covered set for all that.
Yes.
You had karaoke and the fight. Like those things, take weeks of preparation and stunt work and coordination and all these things. And I was really impressed how it looked and how it came together. It felt like it was
a big brawl.
Yeah.
Yeah. The mountain melee, called it.
Yeah.
And the spa hijinks.
Yes.
That could have ended up looking silly and not have the impact that we intended, but it paid off.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
And like you were saying, it looked like an expensive episode because we tried to Dynasty, you want it to look glamorous, like in every frame. If they're in the Carrington Manor, you see, the people in the background polishing silver or, so it should look opulent. And this one, we had the jet. We're on location. I thought it looked big, and it was really fun. I was really happy to watch it again.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with everything you said. It definitely looked expensive, and it looked like all out and everything. And I love the way that like Kirby and Sam and Crystal and Monica, they realized that Fallon was in this like crisis. They probably saw that she showed emotion and really wanted Liam, and so it was nice for them to like kind of back her up, even though they had to do this for Ashley. But it was nice to see them like backing her up and everything.
Yeah, and I know that we have music where Fallon sings a bunch, and I really like the little character moments. Like I thought there was nice Kirby stuff. Because Kirby had been a wild card. And Kirby got to express that she was feeling a little, lonely when she talked about her mom for the first time. The first time we heard about that, you hear Monica express how she was feeling about her mom, and there was nice Monica Fallon stuff. There was nice Monica Jeff stuff.
Yeah.
There was Crystal being vulnerable with Fallon, which we like our episodes to be big and dramatic and crazy and girl fight, things like that, but also to have those character moments where they play grounded, where you feel like they're sort of real people.
For sure,
I like that we had that nice blend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So when did you guys or you guys or everybody as a writing team decide that you wanted to have, stray from the original and have Fallon choose Liam over Culhane? Was that how did that decision come about?
I think we knew, in the beginning of every season, we sort of talk about it. And the showrunner is the one that really calls the shots. And the showrunner of the first two seasons was Sally Patrick, who was wonderful. And she left, and Josh Reams, who had come on in season 2 with us, he got elevated to showrunner for seasons 3, 4, and 5, and he is wonderful as well. So the showrunner really has an idea before, at the start of each season, always open to discussion, but the showrunner is driving things of where do we want to go big picture? Where do we want to go with Fallon? Where do we want to go with Blake and everybody? So I think we discussed it in the beginning of the season that we knew that Fallon was going to wind up with Liam.
Right. And of course, it's a soap, and so having a love triangle is a classic trope of a soap. And so that was fun, to throw another person in and make things messy between her and Culhane.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like you guys said, we had that nice like Kirby and Monica moment. And I think this is, if not one of the only episodes that we hear Kirby talk about her mom. What made you guys decide to like, let the audience in on that part of Kirby's life that we've never heard of before?
I think it was one of those things where another thing that we do at the beginning of every season is we sort of map out what's happening with every character. Like we have so many characters on the show. It's like 800 characters. It's really ridiculous. And to squeeze all of that into every episode is it takes work. So we just knew on our, like, for instance, like on our Kirby board, that this is going to happen with Kirby here. This is, and that we knew at some point we were going to reveal a little bit about Kirby and her backstory. So it just, it wasn't I don't think it was our idea to do it in this episode. I think that's the way it was laid out in the master plan. We looked at it as an opportunity to do it in our episode. So
yeah, I think to give Kirby a little bit of backstory as to like why she's so wild and acts out. And then with Monica having the conversation about her mother, it just seemed like a natural subject to bond them,
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's really cool. Yeah, because we never.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
But it even made me think like there was the really nice. I thought there was a nice moment with Colhane and his mom.
Oh yeah.
Where she was like, "We know, look, you just got dumped, and we know you're hurting and you're afraid." That was a vulnerability that we never really see with Cole. We didn't. I don't think see that much with Colhane.
Right.
So that was, I just like that we get to sort of peel back the curtain a little bit and see, the vulnerability inside the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I think because especially with how big the show is, and they have like a million things going on in their lives, and this person does this and this person does that it's nice to see that vulnerability, because it makes you almost are able to like relate to these characters that you would never really be able to relate to on a normal basis.
That I think is the trick of our show, is that most of them are billionaires. We don't even know how much money anybody has, but
right.
Yeah.
But to have them feel like, oh, they're vulnerable and flawed and wounded, just like
they have parents that effed up their childhood, just like lots of other people.
Yeah.
I
like that in this episode we were able to get some of that that character stuff in there, to slow the story down enough to have moments.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also that another something that I had forgotten about that I like that we did, because there was Fallon was always fighting with Crystal. She didn't like Crystal,
right?
And they had some moments, and I love when Crystal said, "Can I?"
Hair,
the whole thing about the hair,
the hair,
touch her hair.
Yeah,
it's just so strange.
Yeah,
and yet it feels like, oh, that's a thing, a thing between them.
Yeah,
and it was. I just loved the way they played it. That Crystal got it and felt like she had a little bit of an upper hand.
Oh yeah,
I thought
it worked.
Yeah.
And I side note, I think this is correct that Ana Brenda Contreras, who played Crystal season 2, was the spokesperson for Pantene Mexico.
Yeah.
So her hair really is like a gorgeous thing to look at.
Yeah,
so,
that's cool.
Yeah, we're like, oh, it really is something to
it's just such a weird, like, because was it a tender moment?
Yeah.
And it was just such a weird thing.
Right.
That really sort of made me laugh.
Yeah.
And the fact that she wasn't totally on board, she's like, maybe I'll think about it.
Right.
We'll see. That was
not here when she does it later.
Yeah. That's so funny. Did you guys have a favorite scene to write in this episode?
That's a good question. I loved the scene where Fallon is with the girls and she's got the ski trail map behind her and she's figuring out her plan.
Yeah.
I just thought that was funny. It was very inside baseball with like her knowing all the runs and knowing what Ashley's schedule was and commenting on her turns and how they'd improved. I just thought it was a really fun.
That was so funny how it hurt her to admit that she was like good on her edges or something like that. Yeah.
It was really
and that was a great scene also. And another thing I liked about that scene is that because Fallon, as we know and love, it's like she's out of her mind. She's insane.
Yeah.
She comes up with these crazy plans. And what I liked about sort of the girls' trip aspect of it is that they called her on it. Like Kirby called her on it and basically said, "Are you fucking crazy?
Right.
This is insane." So I like that it came off as Fallon and we got to have a character call her on it. And then, like you were saying before, they all sort of came together and rallied around her.
Right.
That was a really fun scene. The bar scene, the karaoke stuff.
Yeah.
And even when they were talking about the bar and how sort of like skeevy it was,
Right. Right.
was really fun. I liked the scene with I like the Colhane Blake scenes because Blake always has the upper hand, and I like that Colhane stepped up with confidence. That scene with Sterling Wells on the plane. Remember when he broke out the boiled peanuts?
Yeah.
I thought that was fun. And then I really also thought, like, we were talking about it a moment ago, the scene with Fallon and Liam when Fallon gets her alone time with Liam, and it's lit beautifully.
Oh, yeah.
That we thought it was, I think we wrote it in such a way that we think this is going to have that Fallon happy ending again. And I really love that moment when she reaches for his hand and he pulls her hand back. That was, that
painful.
Was, that was nice.
Oh yeah, I remember watching that for the first time and I was like, yes, this is the moment, like they're gonna get back together. And then, he like pulls the hand away and he's like, nope, sorry. I was like, oh
no. Yeah.
And the director of that episode was Matt Earl Beasley. And he did a really nice job on this episode. And I remember we were shooting it, those scenes, we were, like you said, we were on location in the middle of Georgia, on what was called Lake
Oconee.
Right. And while that was happening, the fires were burning in California, and his neighborhood was in jeopardy, like grave jeopardy, and his house, like it was on a cul-de-sac where there was like 10 houses and 8 of them burned. And so he was in a tricky place, and everything ultimately turned out to be okay with his family was safe and his home was safe, but he really had to focus,
compartmentalize in a way.
And I thought he did a really nice job.
Wow, yeah, for that to be happening and then directs an episode like this, like that.
Yeah,
he did a great job. Yeah,
I think he knew there was nothing he could do if he left, so he knew his family was safe, so he stayed, and he was the ringleader for the circus.
Yeah, absolutely. I really liked the mention a little earlier in the episode when they are at the bar, and Fallon's talking to the girls about like how Liam got this like Serena van der Woodsen knockoff. Like I thought that was really funny because I was also a Gossip Girl fan, but I know that some of the executive producers also worked on Gossip Girl, right? That you guys had?
Yes, Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage. Their production company, Fake Empire, was also behind Gossip Girl and Dynasty, and so we knew that there probably wouldn't get flagged going through any sort of broadcast standards and practices. And she really was like the Serena van der Woodsen type, very East Side and polished and waspy. And so even though Fallon is wealthy, we always felt that the two women were a very different kind of wealthy, just being from different parts of the country, where what old money looks like, it looks different, I think, in different parts of the country. So we liked that Ashley was our Serena van der Woodsen.
Yes, and I will add or confess that, when we write these episodes, usually we the episodes are each 6 acts. So we'll say, you write acts 1, 4, and 5. I'll write 2, 3, and 6. Then we'll switch, and we'll, so any line that has anything to do with fashion or style or any of that stuff, that was all Aubrey. And when she showed me that, her scenes, and I was like, what's this, Serena? She's like, don't worry about it. Just alone. Don't worry about it.
Don't touch it.
Yeah.
The audience will know what it means. Yeah.
Yes. And I will also say that, my 4 seasons of Dynasty, because there's so much fashion stuff, and that's not my world. And I would always just go to Aubrey and say, I need a fashion line or word or brand or style. And she was always handling that stuff.
Yeah, that was a fun part of the show. The fashion, amazing on that show.
Oh, absolutely. One of the best. It was like a character in and of itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
An Instagram, probably multiple, devoted to what every outfit, what every character wore in every episode. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And our wardrobe department, was just bananas.
Yeah.
They had a pretty good budget, but also that was another thing where, on my episodes, like I was never consulted about wardrobe because I was like, that is their domain. They know it. They, and Liz Gillies, she they all know what they need and what they want. And I would just remember like just showing up on set and like, oh my God, like look what they're wearing. It's incredible.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So that brings me to my next question, actually, which was like when you guys were writing, did you, kind of have an idea in mind of what you wanted the characters to wear, or did you automatically just pass it off of wardrobe and they would dress them based off of how they thought that they would dress in that episode?
Well, it was really fun, I think, for wardrobe. I think it was our only episode where they were wearing ski clothes. And so, there's
That's right.
the brands that we used, the parkas were a couple $1,000s, and it was very high end winter wear. And so we definitely knew Fallon was going to have her fun hat, and the girls would have their various over the top expensive outfits. And I think just having like that winter episode was really fun to have different types of clothes than they normally wear. So yeah, wardrobe went to town. And
and I think we know if we know that a character has to wear something specific for a line or for a story point, then we'll be more involved, or at least I will. But if it's otherwise they have their run. They know. Our wardrobe department. First it was Meredith.
Yeah, Meredith.
And then last season it was.
Oh my God, why are we blanking on her name?
She's the best.
Erin. Oh my God.
Rock star.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and they might reach out to us and say like, well, not us, Aubrey, about what are you thinking? But I think they knew if it's skiing, they know that, oh, we got to go big, with our ski fashion. If it's going to be poolside, or if it's going to be on a plane or in the noir episode, like they know that they get to play.
Right.
And
like, of course, Ashley would be wearing her perfect white ski bunny look.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people can pull that off. And she looked perfect in that perfectly white, body conscious, tight little look. And she is like the perfect ski bunny. Like, of course, Fallon would hate her when she walked in and saw her. Anyone would. You'd be like, what? You look too good in that.
Yeah. And then you have like the Fallon contrasting with like the bright red, kind of like almost like villainous, or like stuff like that. Yeah. That's really cool. So
it was great.
Oh yeah, Taylor Black. Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, such a sport for going through that transformation too, with like your hair all the way like that.
Right.
And
that's funny because that's another one of those things you were talking about earlier. It's like we know how it looks on the page, that she's going to come out looking like a monster. You never, even though they did some tests, but you never really know until it's done what it's going to look like. And I thought, like when they say goodbye to her and walk out, and then she sits up and the audience has a hint, the audience knows something's coming, and you see the hair sticking back and then the nails, and like I thought that was really fun.
The brows, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of towards more the end of the episode, at the scene where they're sitting at the table, or even after Fallon and Ashley have their fight and Liam comes in, he kind of says some pretty harsh things to Fallon. We haven't really seen this side of Liam before. He was always kind of like a golden retriever boyfriend, basically. He was always just like super happy and very caring and loving. And he said some some really harsh things to her. What made you guys, decide to show this side of Liam versus, just, kind of being mad at her, but not saying these, like, I can't stand the sight of you. This is not who I thought you were. Like, this is a very childish thing for you to be doing.
So this is like what we were saying earlier, like when we know the big picture of how the season storyline is going to go, we know how it's going to wind up. So we also then know that at some point we need to find their low. Like what's the low? And that was a tricky scene because we knew it was out of character for Liam, but we also wanted to make sure that Fallon like bottomed out.
Yeah.
And that he really, threw like those harsh words at her. So finding those words, because I think I was there for that. And I know that there were conversations with Adam Huber, because he was like, whoa, like I'm really hitting her hard here. And we were like, you really have to, because A, of what she's done, and B, we know where it's going.
Right.
So, it has to feel organic. But it is sort of eye-opening, how hard he hits her.
But it felt really earned because, what she did, I think once he realized what she did, how far she went to try and break, he and Ashley up, that's, she needed a talking to.
Right.
And he gave her one,
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
a new side of him.
Yeah.
For sure.
And-
Yeah, absolutely.
And because he showed it a new side of him, we got to see a new vulnerability and a new pain within Fallon. Then when she goes back, and Kirby knocks on her door,
Right.
and Kirby's yearning for just a morsel of affection.
Right.
And Fallon was just like, and we discussed that. I remember we talked about that scene. Should Fallon soften a little bit and say, "Oh, it's okay, Kirby," but she didn't.
Right.
Because we had to show that she was really devastated by this.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, because like I said earlier, we haven't really seen her cry before up until this point, really, so especially I think Kirby didn't either. So I think it was like something for Kirby to see, this like really powerful, like strong person, breaking down so much over this thing.
And I don't remember it was kind of a big deal when we discussed it, because I know everyone in the room, especially the season 1 people, who are all amazing, were like, this is a place we haven't gotten to
Right.
with Liz/Fallon.
Crying. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it had to feel organic. And I thought she just, I thought she was amazing at it, because I thought she sort of went for it. That to me, it didn't feel soapy. It felt like grounded.
It felt so grounded. It felt so heartbreaking. And I think it's a combination of the heartbreak and also a little bit of that humiliation, like, oh my God, I did this insane thing. Am I ever going to be able to bounce back from it too?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there like a certain part of this episode that you were hoping that a storyline from this episode would extend onto other episodes that didn't end up happening?
I know we wanted, two things. One, we loved the character Ashley. We did see her again, in series, but we also, David and I in particular, were like, more Ashley. But I think we did try and get Sterling Brown again. We really liked him. Sterling Wells.
Brown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The soccer player. We liked him, and
The challenge is,
didn't work out.
we've got, I think 11 or 12 regulars. Like, we don't even have every one of our regular cast in every episode, because we, some people, have to take episodes off just because we have so many storylines that we squeeze in. So, we knew, we just knew we couldn't, there was almost so much we could fight for Ashley, because there was just no room for her. We loved the Monica Kirby connection.
Yeah.
Wish there could have been more of that, but there's just no real estate for it. So we just get we get our little glimpses, because you probably know more about the show than we do. There's so many, you always have to service what's going on with Fallon. Then it was the Fallon, Liam, Colehane triangle. Then there's Blake and Crystal, and there's Colehane, and there's Jeff and Monica, and
Right.
Anders and Alexis, and there's Sammy Joe and Steven thing that was going on. So there's just so many things that we have to service first, and it's tough to get to those things that, wouldn't it be nice if we could have another Monica Kirby scene.
Right. Or see like the next episode brunch scene where all the girls are recapping what the hell just happened, like those types of things. Like, you just have to imagine they did, and
right,
we couldn't see it.
Yeah. I definitely wish that there was more Monica throughout the series too. I loved Monica as a character. I think it was nice to have, Fallon have this like best friend and stuff like that. I definitely missed her throughout the rest of it.
Everyone.
We did too.
Yeah. Everyone did. Because it was nice to see Fallon have a best friend. Like
Right.
you said, it was just, all those scenes with Monica were great. You bought their friendship. They were really fun.
And there were several
100%.
people, including me, who always like, who do our characters have to talk to just share what they're thinking and get perspective and get told that they're wrong. And Monica was great.
And also just so Dynasty, she's beautiful, wore clothes really well, like she looked good. Even in that scene where Fallon's talking about, with the thing behind her, the way she's posed, like she's just so elegant, and we missed
And she
her.
was great with Jeff too.
Yeah.
Oh,
They had a
absolutely. Yeah.
great relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
We
awesome.
we loved her. You know, we know that there was a lot of you know, our fans let us know who they were missing often. You know,
Yeah.
and there are some things that are out of our control.
Absolutely.
But it was we felt that loss as well.
Yeah. Is there a certain character that you guys like writing for the best or the most, I guess?
You know, Fallon is a joy because she's so
Yeah.
savage, she's funny, she's sharp. I always really also like Anders
Oh.
because Anders was
Oh.
just a savage,
Yeah.
you know, like you just couldn't, you know, like I always felt like we got to make sure give him because he just, you know, he's no bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, you got to
No.
bring, you know, for the characters on the show, you got to bring your A game before you're talking to Anders. So I really liked writing for him too.
Yeah. Anders was like, in my mind, when I wrote for him, I always thinking like he's a man of few words, but the words were so carefully chosen. You know,
Yeah.
he didn't need to have a huge chunk of dialogue to get across what he needed to say. But I agree with David, like writing for Fallon was so fun. She delivered the comedy.
Yeah.
David and I both kind of have comedic, you know, I'm really funny. What, you know, we like to write with a little bit of comedy, and she delivers the comedy, she delivers the drama. She was just really fun. And
yeah, and Sammy Joe also, like Fallon, Sammy Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Because I really love, and you're really good at it, when people can be sort of mean to each other, but lovingly, where you know there's no real venom behind it.
Yeah.
And they can, and you know, Fallon and Sammy Joe together, you know, could really be sort of harsh to each other, but in a loving way. That's always fun to write.
Yeah.
And I think, and Kirby was like, oh, by the way, like
Kirby.
Alexis also.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Savage.
yeah.
Absolute savage.
Yes.
So to be able to give her those words, you know, first it was Nicolette, and then
Elaine
Elaine
Hendricks.
Hendricks,
Yeah.
just savages that they could deliver, you know, those mean lines, but elegantly,
Yeah.
without saying them angrily.
Right.
It's really beautiful to watch.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely agree. So Zoom is telling me I only have 6 minutes left because I didn't pay for the upgrade or whatever. Is there anything else you guys would like to talk about for this episode? Anything else you have to say or about the series at all in general?
It was, you know, it was a really fun episode because we got to go on location, which was a big deal for us.
Yes.
And it was also, you know, when writers go to set, you know, usually like, you know, Aubrey will go, let's say for the first half and I'll go for the second half. Sometimes you get to have a crossover in the middle. And because ours was on location, like 2 hours outside of Atlanta, we got to be there for a couple of days together.
Yeah, it was
I think at this Ritz-Carlton in the middle of Georgia, and it was so fun.
Yeah.
It was so, everybody on the show, writers, cast, crew, production, everybody works their asses off. But it was fun when you can sort of get away. It's almost like you're just away from home. And I thought there was a real nice energy about it for everybody. That just made it really fun for me.
Yeah, going to set is always nice, just to get out of the room and see what you thought of come to life and actually be there. And I think this episode definitely was one of my favorites in all 5 seasons of Dynasty, because like having the girls trip was a highlight for me. And we had in the writer's room dollars on the wall for like people, like if you can get these people to do this, you get the dollar. And we had a 5-way cat fight,
right?
Which I may have the dollar here. I own it. It's well, you can see it since we're zooming, but it says 5-way cat fight, and I got the dollar. David and I should actually we should rip this in half. Fallon, Crystal.
This is like Solomon.
Monica,
so you want to rip it in half, and I'm not going to let you rip it in half. I think it should be preserved. Means it should be my dollar because I care about it more.
I mean, half.
Look, we've had, you know, the fans are wild on Dynasty. They reach out when they don't like something. Where's Steven? Where's Steven? Where's Steven? Where's Monica? You know, oh no, Anders. Like, oh no, Colhane. Like, you know, and sometimes not kindly. But to me, it was always like, wow, that there can be so much passion for a show, I think is so wonderful. Really, I felt like it was a privilege. We each worked on it for 4 episodes. And
4 seasons.
4 seasons, sorry. And people really, really loved this show. And I'm just like, it became what was like number 3 worldwide on Netflix, in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me. And I just really, really get a kick out of it and appreciate how passionate, the fans are about the show. So that when we do something, we knew in this episode, they were not going to be happy about how Fallon and Liam played out.
Right.
So it was just really fun for us to, and not being able to say, oh, don't worry about it, they're going to get back together again in a couple episodes.
Right.
So
you got to keep people on their toes.
Exactly. So it was just really fun for me.
Yeah, it was great.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I can't speak for everybody, but I know for me, I've watched the series so many times, and it, helped me get through high school and a little bit of college, when I was like down, and through COVID and everything. So I really appreciate all the hard work that you guys always put into every episode. And, you can tell I love it so much because I made a whole podcast about it, and we're going through like all the episodes and, my takes on the seasons and episodes and everything, and what my personal thoughts about it. And I have a lot of people on Twitter who send in little things for me to talk about and everything like that. So yeah, and I've interviewed fans.
How much time do we have left?
2 minutes.
2:46.
Okay. So what did you think about the way it ended? I
loved it. The fact that Steven coming back was definitely one of my favorite parts. Fallon finally getting her happy ending with Liam and their daughter, and Nina and Culhane getting their happy ending, and finally Adam getting justice for what he did to Steven in France. That's what I was waiting for the whole time. I really like the way that it ended.
Oh, good. Yeah, that makes me happy.
That's sort of what we were going for, right?
Yeah.
There was so much to tie up. Did you know because obviously you're paying attention to everything that's on Twitter. Did you know that Steven was coming back because stuff had been released or talked about, or there was a picture, or?
I did, yeah. There are some very sleuthy people out there, and they, found there was a video going around about, him and Liz hugging at the wrap thing. So I didn't know, but it was still a nice surprise.
Yeah. I don't think I did.
Yeah, someone recorded
Oh, yes, I did see that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for us a little bit because we were so excited that Steven was finally coming. Believe me, we talked about it, almost as much as the fans did.
Right.
So it was a little unfortunate for us, but it's just from what I've read and heard, and the people who reach out to me, usually hating me, were really happy that Steven finally came back and got.
Yeah. Even though I knew about it, I was still super happy, and the fact that he got to confront Adam about all of this and be like, why'd you? Yeah, exactly. So it was nice that he got a good, ending and wrap up, and gets to be with his family again for sure.
I will say quickly that Adam was also really fun to write because he was another savage, and I thought he was really funny and evil, and those characters are really juicy and fun to write.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for sitting down and talking with me. I had a blast.
Thank you.
This was a great show, and I really appreciate you talking to me about it.
Thank you. We appreciate
it. It was our pleasure.
Yeah, we appreciate your enthusiasm. And I haven't spoken to Aubrey since the show was so.
We text all the time.
We don't.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Bye.
Bye.